The morning sun spilled through the towering glass windows of Pinnacle Enterprises, bathing the 47th floor executive suite in a golden glow. Clara Hensley, a 24-year-old maid with a nervous smile and a habit of tucking her auburn hair behind her ear, pushed her cleaning cart through the sleek hallway. Her sneakers squeaked faintly on the polished marble, a sound that seemed deafening in the quiet of the early hour. She'd been with the company for 3 months, hired to maintain the pristine offices of Chicago's fastest-growing tech empire. Clara was invisible to most, her navy uniform and quiet demeanor ensured that, but she didn't mind. She liked the solitude, the rhythm of her work, the way it let her blend into the background. Today, though, something felt different. As she reached the CEO's office, her heart gave a little lurch. The door was ajar, and inside stood Julian Voss, the 38-year-old visionary behind Pinnacle's meteoric rise. He was a legend, charismatic, ruthlessly ambitious, and known for his icy demeanor. The tabloids called him the Titan, a man who turned a garage startup into a billion-dollar empire by sheer will. Clara had seen him from afar, always, surrounded by suits and screens, his sharp blue eyes scanning the world like it was a chessboard. She'd never dared speak to him. Why would she? She was just the maid. But this morning, Julian was alone, standing by the window, his broad shoulders silhouetted against the city skyline. He held a coffee mug, steam curling upward, and his brow was furrowed as if the weight of the world rested on him. Clara hesitated, her hand on the cart. She was supposed to clean the office now, but interrupting him felt like stepping into a lion's den. Still, the schedule was strict, and she couldn't afford to lose this job. Her younger brother, Ethan, was starting college next fall, and every penny she earned went to his tuition. She took a breath, knocked softly, and stepped inside. Julian didn't turn. Clara began her routine, quietly wiping down surfaces, her movements practiced and unobtrusive. As she dusted the mahogany desk, she noticed a framed photo, a rare personal touch in the otherwise sterile office. It showed a younger Julian with a woman and a small boy, all laughing on a beach. Clara's eyes lingered on it, a pang of curiosity tugging at her. Who were they? The Julian Voss she'd heard about didn't seem like a man who laughed. She was so lost in thought that she didn't notice Julian turning until his voice cut through the silence. "You're early." Clara froze, a rag clutched in her hand. Her cheeks flushed. "I'm sorry, Mr. Voss. I didn't mean to disturb you." He studied her, his gaze piercing but not unkind. "You didn't. Most people don't come in until 9. Why are you here at 6? She swallowed, her voice barely above a whisper. "It's quieter, easier to focus." He raised an eyebrow, as if her answer intrigued him. Then, to her shock, he gestured to the coffee machine in the corner. "Want some? It's better than the sludge in the break room." Clara blinked, unsure if he was serious. CEOs didn't offer coffee to maids. "Oh, no. Thank you, sir. I'm fine. Suit yourself." He turned back to the window, and Clara thought the conversation was over. But as she moved to leave, she felt a strange urge. Maybe it was the photo, or the way his shoulders seemed to carry an invisible burden. Before she could stop herself, she signed good morning in American Sign Language, a habit she'd picked up from her deaf cousin, Mia. It was a small gesture, one she used when words felt too heavy. She didn't expect him to notice, but Julian did. He turned, his eyes narrowing. What was that? Clara's heart sank. "I'm sorry. It's just, I sign sometimes. It means good morning. You know ASL." His tone was curious, not accusatory. She nodded, fidgeting with her rag. "My cousin's deaf. I learned for her." He looked at her for a long moment, then nodded. "Interesting. Carry on." Clara left the office, her pulse racing. She'd spoken to Julian Voss, and he hadn't fired her. It was a small victory, but it felt monumental. What Clara didn't know was that her simple gesture had sparked something in Julian. The photo on his desk was of his late wife, Emily, and their son, Liam, who was now 9 and profoundly deaf. Emily had died 4 years ago in a car accident, and Julian had thrown himself into work to cope, leaving Liam's care mostly to nannies and tutors. While Liam was struggling, withdrawing further into silence, and Julian felt helpless, Clara's sign, that fleeting good morning, reminded him of Emily, who'd been fluent in ASL and had taught Liam his first signs. It was a memory he'd buried under board meetings and stock prices. The next morning, Clara was stunned to find Julian waiting in his office. "Clara, right?" he said, remembering her name from her badge. "I need a favor." She nodded, bewildered. He explained that Liam's school had a parent-teacher event that evening, and the interpreter had canceled. "Could you help? I'll pay you double your shift." Clara hesitated. She wasn't a professional interpreter, just someone who'd learned for family, but the extra money could cover Ethan's textbooks. "I'll try, sir." That evening, Clara found herself at a private school in Lincoln Park, surrounded by parents in designer clothes. She felt out of place in her simple sweater and jeans, but Liam's bright smile when she signed to him eased her nerves. The boy was a whirlwind of energy, his hands flying as he described his science project, a model rocket that actually launched. Clara translated for Julian, who watched his son with a mix of pride and pain. During a break, Liam tugged Clara's sleeve and signed, "You're nice." "Dad's always busy." Clara glanced at Julian, who was checking his phone. She signed back, "He's here now." That's something. The event was a success, and Julian thanked her stiffly, handing her an envelope with cash. But over the next weeks, he kept finding reasons to involve her. Could she help Liam with his homework? Could she teach Julian a few signs? Clara agreed, not just for the money, but because she saw something in Liam, a spark that reminded her of Ethan's dreams. She started spending evenings at the Voss penthouse, signing with Liam, sharing stories of her own childhood in a small Illinois town. Julian often lingered nearby, listening, his guarded exterior softening. The office began to notice. Whispers spread about the maid who caught the CEO's attention. Some assumed the worst, gossiping about affairs. Others saw Clara's quiet kindness and wondered if she was just a good influence. Clara ignored the rumors, focusing on Liam and her work. But the dynamic shifted one rainy afternoon when Julian called her into his office. "Clara, I need to be honest," he said, his voice low. "Liam's happier with you around. I'm not good at this being a father, not since Emily, but you make it look easy." Clara blushed, shaking her head. "I'm just doing what feels right." He leaned forward, his eyes intense. "That's what makes it remarkable. I want to offer you a permanent role, not as a maid, as Liam's tutor, his friend, whatever he needs." Clara was floored. The pay would change her life, but it meant leaving her quiet, invisible world. She asked for time to think. That night, she sat with Ethan, who was home from community college. "Take it," he urged. "You're always helping everyone else. Let this help you." She accepted, and the news sent shockwaves through Pinnacle. The maid was now the CEO's son's tutor. Social media buzzed, with some praising Julian's humanity and others speculating about ulterior motives. Clara felt the weight of the scrutiny, but pushed it aside for Liam. Months passed, and Clara became a fixture in Liam's life, teaching him, laughing with him, even helping Julian learn ASL. The CEO, who once intimidated her, became just Julian, a man trying to rebuild his bond with his son. One evening, as they watched Liam launch his rocket in the park, Julian turned to Clara. "You've changed us," he said simply. "Thank you." The emotional climax came at Liam's school talent show. He prepared a signed performance of a poem he'd written about his mother, and Clara had helped him practice. As Liam's hands moved, telling a story of love and loss, the audience was spellbound. Julian, in the front row, wiped away tears. Clara, backstage, felt her own eyes well up. When Liam finished, the room erupted in applause, and Julian stood, signing "I'm proud of you" to his son for the first time. The story of Clara, the shy maid who signed "Good Morning" and transformed a family, spread beyond Chicago. It became a viral sensation, a testament to how a single act of kindness could ripple outward. Clara never sought the spotlight, but she found purpose in it, using her new role to advocate for deaf education. Julian, inspired by her selflessness, started a foundation in Emily's name, with Clara's input shaping its mission years later. As Clara watched Ethan graduate college and Liam prepare for high school, she reflected on that morning in the CEO's office. A simple gesture had changed everything, not just for her, but for a man and a boy who needed a reminder that humanity could still surprise them. And in a world often divided, that small act of connection proved more powerful than anyone could have imagined.